The August SAT is right around the corner, and in this video I'll share with you all the tips and tricks that I use and found very helpful when taking the SAT. And by the way, these tips and tricks will drastically improve your SAT score if you're not already using them, so let's get started right away. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to start with how the SAT goes. So it's the words in context that come first. So the words in context. So this is basically where it gives you like a blank and then asks you like what word best fits in this blank, and or it gives you an underlined word and what word is most similar to the meaning of this word in the context. So the first thing you do here is just read the question and see which one of those it is. So it's pretty simple. It's usually very obvious. So just read the question and see what it is. After you read the questions, then read the passage. And when you read the passage, you're basically just looking for the relationship around the word. And some hints are like if you see a semicolon or like a colon or something like that, those ones usually give a hint. Right after them is where the relationship usually is, and usually in the passage there's actually like a synonym of the word in there, like after like a semicolon or a colon, and that is where the answer usually found, like a synonym to the answer, and that can actually help you find it. And after you read the passage, then what you can do is you predict the answer. So when you predict the answer, sometimes you're not going to know like what any of the words mean in the answer choices. So when you predict the answer, just predict like a synonym to it that you understand. A synonym that you understand, a synonym that you understand, and then once you predict the synonym, to help you predict this is just like predict the connotation of the word too, like if it's negative or positive and what it's really doing in the passage. That is very helpful, because then once you predict it, then you can look at the answer choices and then see which one matches the best to your synonym and connotation. So this matched to answer choices. So this is right here. This is basically how you can get these questions correct without actually knowing any of the vocab. And a lot of the times I don't even know the vocab, and this is how we do it to get the answers correct. So even if you don't know any of the vocab, if you do this will make it a lot easier to do it. And if you're like don't even have a synonym, or it's not very good, and you don't understand what any of the answer choices go, just go by each answer choice and eliminate the ones that you can eliminate, that you know for sure don't make sense in the tense, and then just guess what each one means, and based off like the connotation in what you know about like parts of the words, and then just choose the best answer. So after words in context on the test is the passage questions. So I'm just going to call them passage questions. So these here, they're like the ones that give you a long passage and then ask you like what best completes the text, or what's the main idea, or gives you a graph and asks you like what completes the researcher's argument and stuff like that. So first thing here is to read the question and basically see what they're looking for, and then once you read the question, then you get into the passage. So you read the passage and or graph, and basically you have to fully understand them. So when doing these, make sure you fully understand it. So read word by word. This is very important because we need to understand every single word to be able to understand the graph, because sometimes there's very difficult problems that are very complicated, but if you understand each word, it makes them so much easier. And one good way to see if you understand it is to predict what's come next in text. So every like 5-ish words, just predict what you think will come next, and then read on to see if your prediction's right, and that will help you to know if you're understanding the text. So just predict as you read. This is very helpful because it'll help you understand the passage right, so you can get the questions correct. So once you read the passage in the graph and you fully understand it, and don't move on until you fully understand it, and a lot of the times people may be lazy and like after read a sentence, like I don't want to go back even if I don't understand it, because maybe you'll understand it after I finish reading. You probably won't, and it makes it so much faster. It makes you understand it much better if you just go back and understand that sentence. So now once you do that is you predict the answer choice, and once you predict the answer choice, then you basically just look at the answer choices and to see which one matches up. So just match answer choice to prediction, and sometimes your prediction will be wrong and you may have to go back to the drawing board, but most of the time predictions should be very close if you practice a lot of times, and you should be able to understand like which answer choice and why each answer choice is wrong, like say what word makes it wrong, and then once you see the word that makes it wrong, then you can cross it off, and then you can just eliminate them all until you get the correct answer. So just basically when you just predict your answer, make sure that your answer choice has everything that you like predicted it to be in it, unless obviously that your predictions like off. But most of the time, if you understand the text, your prediction should be very close, and you should base your answer you choose off your prediction. So after the passage questions, that's where it's like the grammar and stuff like that. So I'm just put grammar and verbs together because they are very similar in how you answer the questions. So for grammar and verbs, first thing you should do is you should look at the answer choices to basically see what you're looking for. So see like the patterns of it. So say maybe it's like, auto and out, where there's 3 singular, 1 plural, to see, okay, I know exactly what the answer is right away without, I don't have to read anything. Or say if there's different, like, if there's like a word and then there's a semicolon, then one has a comma after it, just to see what you're looking for exactly. So once you look at the answer choices, then read through the passage, and then just see which one fits the best, basically. So just look for clues. When you look at the clues and the answer choices, that will really tell you what you're looking for. So say it's like a tense question, like see a will in one of the answer choices, and most of the time those are tense questions. So what you can actually do there is you can just look through the passage and see, okay, what tense is this in, and then choose the correct answer. So that makes it a lot easier if you can just do that. But once you read the passage and this is like a grammar question, just check, say if it's a semicolon, then it has to be independent clauses on both sides of it. So just check to see if there's 2 complete sentences, a subject and main verb on both sides, and if there is, then a semicolon's right. And one common like error people make is that they see like, okay, question A has like a word and then a semicolon. Question B here has a word but then has another word, say, and period. So here, like you say, okay, well these are doing the same thing, but they're both like separate 2 complete sentences, so I can eliminate them, but you actually can't because there's and here. Say if there wasn't a word there, it wasn't an extra word, they have to be the exact same thing for you to eliminate both of them. This is the same thing with comma plus a fanboys. Just make sure that you're aware that they have to be the exact same words in order for you to eliminate them both, because they serve the same purpose for the SAT, and the SAT can never have 2 of the same answer choices. So once you do this on the grammar and verbs, you just eliminate all the wrong answers. So here, just eliminate wrong answers, and then once you eliminate all the wrong answers, then just choose the correct one. So just whatever one fits with, based off like the passage, based off the rules and stuff. So after grammar, that's where the transition questions are. And these ones here are fairly easy because they basically, all you need to do is just understand the relationship around the blank. So say for example, the first thing you do in a transition question is you read the passage. So don't look at the answer choices because you need to predict your answer. So first thing you do is read passage and then understand the relationship. So understand relationship around the blank. So you say if it's like contrasting with the sentence before or the sentence after, or it's building upon it, that gives you hints on what to look for. So once you read the passage and understand the relationship between it, then what you do is you predict your answer. So predict your answer, and once you predict your answer, it's very simple. All you need to do is just, you predict your answer, you see, okay, that's making this relationship, then you go to answer choices, and then you just choose the answer choice that does that, that best does that, and most of the time, there's only going to be one answer choice that does that, so you just choose that one answer choice, and then you're done. So after transitions, that is the rhetorical synthesis. So rhetorical synthesis, these are pretty easy questions. So rhetorical synthesis. Okay, so rhetorical synthesis, those here are some of the easiest questions, because all you need to do in these ones is really you just read the question, see what it's asking. You need to read it very closely to see the words, because usually there'll be like a word that says maybe explain a generalization, then you have to explain a generalization on top of a generalization. So that's like common tricks they try to use on you. But just read the question very closely, understand it, and then once you read the question and fully understand it, then you don't need to predict your answer. You just go straight to the answer choices and then just look for the answer choice that best does it. So look for the answer choice that best does it, and then you choose that one. If, however, there are some times where like 2 answer choices seem right, so if 2 answer choices seem right, then look at the notes. Look at the notes, because usually one of them has a wrong statistic, or it's mixing up 2 different things that aren't actually in the notes you would see are actually wrong. So just make sure you read the notes and look through the notes, because then you would get the question right, because it's very obvious once you read the notes. But in rhetorical synthesis, you don't actually have to read the notes on every single one, and there's actually very few of them you actually have to read the notes, because most of the time they are very easy questions. So now after these ones here, we'll go over the math. So basically in the math section, there's really only like one main rule without teaching you any new concepts and stuff like that. And the best tip for math is just read very closely. Read the question closely, because most of the times, like say for example on like a surface area or like just a volume question, they are going to give you basically what you need to look for. So when you read the passage, it'll say like the question is, some of them are going to be very long and wordy, but actually like maybe like one sentence, all it asks you is saying like, what's the volume of this? What you need to do is just understand what it's looking for. So say for example, sometimes on surface area questions they'll ask you for like the slant height. So that's like a diagonal line. It's not the regular height, it's the diagonal line. So what you need to do is like you get the surface area formula and they need to convert it to slant height using like the Pythagorean theorem. And sometimes also like in cases like this, they may ask you questions where they give you like a volume of surface area and they need to convert it to like just the radius or like the height of it or something, just something along the lines of that. So just make sure you read the question very closely, because the question basically tells you everything you need to do, and that is basically the hardest part. And where you get silly questions wrong is because you just don't pay very close attention. So make sure you pay very close attention to all the questions. And for math too, just one other thing is just memorize or basically understand how to derive the surface area formulas, because those aren't given to you, and usually there may be one or two questions. And surface area itself is not like too bad if you know the questions, if you know how to get the formulas, but the hard part is really memorizing and be able to derive the formulas. So just basically memorize or just understand how to derive the formulas, and then you'll be good for all the surface area formulas. So I'll put all the surface area formulas on the side right here, and then that'll basically just show you everything. You just need to memorize all of those, and then come test day, you should be good for all surface area formulas. And if you want more help with those, I have a video where I go over every single surface area possible thing they can ask about surface area, and once you watch that full video, you'll be able to answer every single surface area and volume question. And that's about it for every tip and trick for the SAT. If you like this video, subscribe and like for more SAT prep and more videos to help you do better on your next SAT.